Okay, so for what we have in the case of number 1, we have that c is equal to 5 and y is equal to negative 6, and we are looking at substitution so as to determine the value of the algebraic expression negative c plus 9y. Okay, and if we were to substitute respectively 5 for c, negative 6 for y, okay, now we're going to have the negative of c is going to become the negative of 5. And then in the case of 9 times y, we're looking at 9 times negative 6. And as you look at combining the values, we have negative 5. We have plus 9 times negative 6, which is going to be a negative 54. And you can say negative 5 minus 54 or negative 5 plus negative 54, and the outcome ends up at negative 59. In the case of what we have for the second item, okay, we have for the trinomial in C, given that C is equal to negative 6, okay, we have the trinomial C squared plus 7 times C plus 4. And in terms of evaluating, okay, the square of C is going to be the square of negative 6. And then we have 7 times C is going to become 7 times negative 6, and again we have at the end plus 4. And so in looking at squaring out negative 6, okay, this will be at 36. 7 times negative 6 is going to be a negative 42. And again we have plus 4, and for what we have for the terms, okay, we have 36 minus 42 will be a negative 6. And in turn negative 6 plus 4 will be at negative 2. Now in the case of what we have in number 3, okay, we were looking at combining like terms, and in the expression we have negative 2 over negative 6u plus w, and then we have minus the quantity of negative 3w minus 3u. So we have two sets of parentheses, and to eliminate the parentheses we now are looking at distribution. So we have negative 2 times negative 6u, so we have a positive 12u, and then we have negative 2 times w, which in this case we have minus 2w. And with the distribution subtraction over negative 3w minus 3u, okay, we have plus 3w and a plus 3u. And for arranging the terms together, okay, we have 12u plus 3u. Now that you absolutely have to write this additional step, but for what we have in w, we have negative 2w plus 3w. And so we have two sets of like terms, one set in the variable u and the other one in the variable w. And as we combine, we have 15u, and in w we have plus w. And so we end up with the solution, only two terms, and so we have the binomial of addition between 15u and w. Now in the case of what we have for problem number 4, okay, we have this time working with the variable t. Okay, so we have in this problem, okay, we have negative 7t squared plus 3t minus 1, and then we have plus the quantity of 2t squared plus 4t plus 5. And upon removal of parentheses, okay, there is not going to be any sign change. So negative 7t squared plus 3t minus 1, and again we have plus 2t squared plus 4t plus 5, and we can combine Okay, the like terms together, we have negative 7t squared plus 2t squared. We have 3t plus 4t. Okay, we have minus 1 plus 5. Okay, so for what we have in the set, okay, negative 7t squared plus 2t squared. Okay, this becomes negative 5t squared. 3t plus 4t will end up at 7t. Negative 1 plus 5 we have at positive 4. And thus the solution is negative 5t squared plus 7t plus 4. In the case of what we have and working with distribution, and also where we have involving the use of exponents, we have for number 5, we have 9x to the 6th, and then we have times the quantity of 8x plus 7x squared. And so for what we have in terms of distributing, okay, we have 9 times 8 is 72. And with the product rule, again, we have two distinct x factors. We have x to the 6th times x to the 1st. And so you'll add the exponents together. So we have for the first product, okay, this will be 72x to the 7th. And then we have for the second and final term, we have 9 times 7 is 63. And x to the 6th times x squared, again utilizing the product rule. Okay, we have 72x to the 7th plus 63x to the 8th, and again you can put the terms in descending degree order, where we can write this as 63x to the 8th plus 72 times x to the 7th. Now, what we have regarding problem number 6, okay, we have for this one, okay, we have u plus 1 times u minus 5, and again you can work with the terms in most any fashion with the FOIL, any variation thereof. Okay, now we have for the first product, we have u times u, which will be at u squared, and then we have the outside product, we have u times negative 5, so we have minus 5u. Inside product we have 1 times u. And then last product we have 1 times negative 5, which would be a minus 5. Again, there are other techniques such as the box method or any other technique that you might have in mind, but you're going to draw out 4 distinct terms, and 2 of which will be like. Okay, so I have u to the 2nd, negative 5u plus u will join and combine to negative 4u, and then we have the constant at the end with negative 5. So for the result here, okay, we have u squared minus 4u minus 5. Now, in the case of what we have in problem number 7, okay, we have 3 terms in the same variable. We have x times x to the 4th times x to the 3rd. And so for what we are going to have in this one, okay, we have the product rule, same variable x, and again for multiplying distinct terms in x, okay, we have adding the powers together, we have x to the 4th added to 1, and then following we have plus 3, so we have x times x to the 4th times x cubed. Okay, for this one we're going to end up at x to the 8th. Now, in the case of what we have in number 8, okay, we have in this particular setup, we have for the variable terms, okay, here we have 2y to the 5th, v to the 5th, and we have times 4 v to the 4th times 6y. And for what we can do in this arrangement, okay, we have combining, okay, so you have with the constants, okay, you have 2 times 4 times 6, and then for what we have in terms of the variable y, okay, we have y to the 5th times y, and then we have in the letter v, we have v to the 5th times v to the fourth. And so we have 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 6 is 48. Y to the fifth times y, got y to the fifth times y to the first, which would be y to the 5 plus 1, which would be y to the sixth. And then v to the fifth times v to the fourth, you have v to the 5 plus 4, so this will be v to the ninth. And you can write this product also as 48 times v to the ninth times y to the sixth.